Loki Season 2 picks up right where the last one left us, with the multiverse falling apart. But will the show end up following suit, or will the God of Mischief be able to salvage the Marvel Universe? What's up, Nerdgenic Nation and fellow true believers, superhero nerd Aaron Walla here, and today I want to give my thoughts on the first episode of Season 2 of the Marvel Disney Plus series, Loki. And this season looks to take Loki and Mobius across the multiverse once again in order to stop He Who Remains, aka Kang the Conqueror's variants, from causing all-out multiversal war. Now, it's been about 2 years since the last season of Loki, and though it wasn't necessarily my favorite of the MCU shows, it had a lot of style. And it introduced us to the next big threat in the Marvel Universe. And now with Season 2, it seems to very much follow suit in being a lot of style, but really no substance. And I feel like this episode could have easily slipped into being episode 7 of Season 1 and ended in the same cliffhanger place, and we could have really had the same result. It just didn't feel like a new beginning, but maybe that was kind of intentional. The overall style of the show and the retro features and locations throughout the offices of the TVA are easily my favorite thing about this series. But that might just be beaten out by the newest character Ouroboros, or OB, played by Goonies and Indiana Jones alum Ke Huy Quan. He is easily the most intriguing character as he somewhat works as a go-between for the viewer as well as Loki and Mobius. OB essentially functions as the exposition as to why or how things work within the TVA, while also bouncing off of Loki in a fun and humorous way. Plus, I absolutely love seeing Ke Huy Quan in more things, and though I kinda wish it was in a different part of the Marvel Universe, this could still end up being way more fun than I think. Tom Hiddleston's Loki is much different than he was in previous Marvel properties, and seems to have changed quite a lot from his adventures, having made him much less dastardly. And to be quite honest with you, if it wasn't for the amount of times that people say Loki, I would have completely forgotten that this was a Marvel property at all. And then we have Sylvie, who we do get very little of in this episode, but I think it will end up connecting back to her. But I really have no idea what the heck that post-credit scene was meant to be other than a giant McDonald's ad, though it was pointed out to me that it could connect because she didn't necessarily have a childhood, which does make sense, but it just felt like a giant ad, which I think Marvel has gotten in the bad habit of doing more and more frequently. And then there's my favorite character from last season, Mobius, who I'm not sure if I'm on board with, as he too feels kind of off, though that might just be the timeline splitting and jumping back and forth between Clueless and In the Know Mobius. But sadly, we didn't get any of Jonathan Majors' Kang in this episode beyond statues, pictures, and paintings. But I do hope that we get to see more of him and different versions of Kang in this series as the TVA team continues to attempt to stop him. Regardless though, there is plenty happening in this episode as they attempt to somewhat stabilize the ever-branching timelines and keep Loki from randomly jumping between the past and present, which they call time slipping. And much like the current state of the timelines, this premiere episode feels very chaotic, which I think was largely their intention, but it also seems like a lot more was happening than was actually going on because they kept playing ping pong with our brains between past and present. And I'm not sure if it was just me, but it felt like they were pulling from other Marvel properties, most specifically with Infinity War and Guardians of the Galaxy, specifically around the time that Mobius was having to go out in the spacesuit and try and fix the temporal loom. I just got really heavy vibes from those other properties, and it felt like they weren't even doing anything original at that point. But overall, I would have to say that I think the episode was pretty decent, but also a confusing mess. And I'm not sure if that was largely due to the message and idea that they were trying to convey, with the TVA also being in a very chaotic state due to the branching timelines, but if that's what they were going for, they definitely nailed it. I just really hope that whatever this show decides to do, or whatever direction that it goes, that at the very least it can get on track and connect again to the Marvel Universe, because it really felt like the majority of the Marvel properties, both film and TV series, seemingly stepped further and further away from the connected universe that jump-started the MCU in the first place. I really want this season to be good. I think it has all the right pieces, it definitely has the style. I just hope that it has the substance to match, because I wasn't necessarily a big fan of the first season, but because I feel like this show can be so vastly different but also entertaining, it really has a high ceiling as to its potential. But it can only do so if it's done right. And so far, at least in the first episode, it really only did about half the job. And considering that Loki is only 6 episodes instead of the standard Marvel 8, I think that we've already started off on the wrong foot and still have quite the hill to climb. But as is my philosophy with just about every show, I'll continue to tune in and hope that it gets better week to week. For now though, those are my thoughts on Season 2, Episode 1 of Loki, and now I want to hear from you in the Nerdgenic community. What did you think of this episode? Do you feel like that it accomplished anything? Or was it just chaos incarnate and we haven't really gone anywhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos, as well as my thoughts on the next episode of Loki. But also be sure to give us a follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic. That way you don't miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, check out our most recent video right over here, or for more Marvel content, check out this playlist right over here. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We hope to see you in the next video.